Okay, take five. This is Joyojeet. I'm at Microsoft Research India, and I will be telling you about misinformation in India and how it evolved during the heart of the COVID period in India. So we did not go out and figure out what was and was not misinformation. We took an archive of misinformation about in India and coded those for categories. I won't be going through the categories. They're up here. You can look at them in the paper. I will only focus on one specific category as it relates to this research. So there are some general patterns about misinformation during COVID, which are the use of announcements, formal-looking letterheads, and sources in which the misinformation is put out. The use of formal-looking Facebook handles under which the misinformation is put. Sometimes the use of very great degree of specificity, such as temperatures at which you should take a medicine, the amount of time you should gargle, so on and so forth, as well as some culturally specific things such as the use of people with East Asian features in those misinformation. In addition to which, there are general patterns of misinformation, speculation about future scenarios, use of celebrities, as well as alarmist language. Now, the important thing about misinformation in India in this case was that prior to COVID, there's already been a very healthy and vibrant amount of misinformation going about on social media as well as on mainstream media, and that this misinformation was primarily about liberals as well as about Muslims in the aftermath of a certain policy issue in India, which split the community. Now, the COVID-related misinformation starts taking off in around early March 2020, and then it keeps on peaking till about mid-April, and then moves on to other subjects. Now, misinformation can be either positive or negative. So negative misinformation is saying something nasty about some community. Positive misinformation is to say something like, well, we didn't get COVID because of our superior culture, or so on and so forth. There are a few important patterns about the kinds of stories that are used for certain kinds of misinformation. So some kinds of content are better suited for recirculation. So videos do very well in causing alarm and fear in people, whereas some other kinds of information needs to be created from scratch. If you're going to make the claim that garlic cures COVID, well, then you need to write a story about it. Likewise, the kind of media changes from the types of topics that are in a piece of misinformation, and we detailed some of these things in the paper. The important thing I want to look at is this slide, which is 3 periods around misinformation during COVID. One was 14th March to 23rd March, during which you see the word cloud basically says that most of the misinformation is about the police, the lockdown, what the government is doing, etc. The next period, it's still about suffering, the lockdown, etc. And the third period, which is April, early April, the misinformation becomes significantly about Muslims. Now, there's an event which triggers this, a religious event of Muslims, which had a high amount of cases. But in the immediate aftermath of this, what we see is that a lot of the misinformation becomes about Muslims trying to spread COVID in India. And here we turn to the way that Muslims have been crafted as a political enemy, which set up the ecosystem to allow for them to be easier vilified during a crisis. So while earlier misinformation was about things like drinking garlic water and curing yourself, by some point people had tried all of those things and they couldn't do it. So the focus moved from instrumental misinformation to affective misinformation, where you move from how do you fix the problem to who do you blame for the problem. And that, in a nutshell, is at the heart of the story. And what we look at is how this thing was set up and how it explodes at the heart of the COVID crisis in India. We also show in the paper that politicians use this significantly, as did the media, and that people related positively to this, which therefore means that our story is a larger socio-political story about misinformation as well as polarization and the environment to enable these things in India. Thank you.